see you. Yeah.
Rock, long time no see, brother.
Good here, good.
Yeah. Stallion's back. Hey,
It's like a party here.
yeah, right. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, Bill.
Good.
Will you make it come back?
No.
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Breed, what's up?
Didn't know you were coming back.
I did.
Oh, they're the real ones. 9 years old, and then, I don't know, 40-something years old. About 48 there. But, yeah. So I went from the movie that made me want to be a fighter to where the movie that I played myself. And they're both Rocky films, so kind of my whole world came full circle. Yeah, well, yeah.
I love Tulsa.
Well, with that famous introduction, I want to thank Joey I coming back for his third podcast on his YouTube page, and I want to really thank you for this. And lots been happening in the fights business and everything else lately, and just getting caught up. I know we're getting close to the holidays, but a lot of things are happening, especially this weekend. But yeah. So at the end of our last podcast, you mentioned a little something that happened, and I think you want to elaborate on, don't you?
Yeah, I meant to say we got kind of cut off at the end there. Every time I see that scene in Creed when he comes in and I greet him, there's like two funny stories that always come to mind. That scene was not supposed to be in the movie. They made that like a thank you to me for doing all the technical stuff and all the other stuff that I did for them. And wrangling all the fighters and trainers and whatever. So they said, Joe, we made a scene for you and Sly. And I said, okay. I said, well, where's the script? They said, well, there isn't one. You got to make it up. I said, so me and Sly, we looked at each other and I said, well, what do you want to say? He goes, I don't know. You start. I said, all right. So I'm thinking to myself, I said, what the hell am I going to say? I said, he hates when you impersonate him. And I kind of sound like him when I'm not impersonating him. I said, geez, So I'm like standing next to a giant Italian flag, So I said, you know what? I said, I'll greet him in Italian. And I said, Rocky understands Italian, and like Rocky 2 and Rocky 5, the Father Carmine talks to him, in Italian. So he understands it. So I thought, all right. So I said to him, I said, Sly, I said, when you come in, I'll say, oh, Rocco, come stai? And he says, yeah, okay, good. That's great. Yeah, perfect. And I'll say it back. I said, okay. So, we practice it, we rehearse it. He come in, I say it to him, he says it back. I said, hey, it's like, he says, hey, everybody's here. I said, yeah, it's like a family reunion, whatever. We walk over to the guy, Pete, and I walk him over to the gym owner, and they say cut, and they were like, okay, that's good. They said, and the assistant director says that, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Joe, you got to talk more. I said, no problem. I said to Sly, I said, how about this? I said, how about I say, hey, you look pretty good. You look like you're in pretty good shape. Still go for you. He goes, yeah. So I figured I was working his ego. So we do that. And they say, yeah, cut. They say, and you got to talk all the way up to the guy. I said, all right. So I'm thinking, the promoter in me pops out and I'm thinking, hey, want to make a comeback? So, which a lot of people have said is like one of the quintessential lines in the movie, that because there aren't many like the old Rocky movies that have such memorable lines. And so we're doing it. We're rehearsing. We must have rehearsed this thing for an hour. And I kept saying, coming in and saying "Come stai" to Rocky, which means "How you doing" in Italian. And we're back and forth. And then all of a sudden, the director Ryan Coogler, he stops and he goes, "All right, stop this. What's with the Kuma Tama Tama stuff?" And we looked at each other. I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "What do you say when you first came in?" I said. And we both look at the same time, me and Sly both goes, he goes, "Oh, come stai." And we're like, I said, it means how you doing in Italian. And he goes, "Oh, no. We don't got time for subtitles. We can't put, I go, you don't need subtitles. It's one line. I said, Rocky understands Italian. Father Carmine talked to him in Italian, remember? And he goes, no, say something else. So I was like, oh, now what the hell am I going to say? And I said, I'm looking around and everything on it is supposed to be, everything's to Rocky in that gym. They're an homage to him, and this is Italian Stallions. I said, all right. So I'll say, oh, the Italian Stallion's back. And we changed it to that. And, and Sly and me were both looking at each other. I think it was better the first time. He goes, I know, me too. He goes, oh, well, what are you going to do? I'm not the director this time. I said, yeah. So, we went with it. And, but we both thought that probably would have, probably would have been better. But I wish they would have said something hours before. We kept doing this for, we did it in rehearsals. Then we got changed. We came back in, and then, we're all dressed, ready to go, and waits till we're about 3 takes into that to say, what's all this? Cut it, So it was kind of funny that it wound up that way. But that you give them what they want. But that's what happens when you tell somebody, here, you make up the lines. So, and Sly didn't help. He just goes, yeah, you start it. I'll follow along. So, it was an experience. But the other thing that happened with that, the one old guy that's in the scene, that when Rocky comes in, the guy not wearing the hat, that was another guy.
You want me to play it again?
Frank Pesh.
You want me to play it again?
You could, if you would like.
So people know you can't talk over this, so it'll have to play itself out. But just you talk about it, and we'll play it a little down the road.
Okay. Yeah. So the guy Frank Pesh, who greets one of the old timers that greets Rocky as he comes in, he was the guy who wrote the movie 29th Street, because it was about his life for real. He was the guy who won the first New York lottery. He won like $1 million. And what he did was, as soon as he won the lottery, he ran from New York to LA to getting movies. And one of the first movies he got in, he was an extra in Rocky. And he somehow became friendly with Stallone, and they became almost best friends for the rest. He passed away about 2 years ago. And they were like, he had him in a lot of his movies. And I saw he was there, and he had him there. And I knew who he was from some of the movies I had seen him in, and knew that he was the one who was the real Frank Pesh, who won the lottery, that he made the movie with Danny Aiello. And he walked up to me and said, "Hey, kid, what do you like Joe Pesci better in, Goodfellas, Casino, or My Cousin Vinny?" And I looked right at him and I said, "What the fuck are you asking me for?" And he says, "Oh, come on, look at you. You're like the Philadelphia Joe Pesci." And I said, "Yeah, I've heard that once or twice before, And I said, "Nothing new." And so he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, I know." I said, "Yeah, I know who you are. He wrote 29th Street. You had the movie." And he just looked at me and I said, so I start yelling at him like I'm Joe Pesci. And I start saying, "Where the fuck do you get your balls? Don't you ever go over my head again?" I start doing the whole thing, the desert scene with him and De Niro. And he's laughing. I do the whole thing for him. And he calls Sly over and he says, "Sly," he said, "you should hear this guy. He can really do Joe Pesci good in the desert scene in Casino." And so, let me hear it, Somebody, come on. He goes, "No, let me hear it." I said, "All right." So he does. I do it for him now. And he goes, "Hey, I have Joe Pesci's phone number." I said, "I got Don King's phone number." I said, "What do you want to start one-upping each other on phone numbers here or something? You go through our phones?" He goes, No. He said, "If I call him and put him on the speaker," he said, "will you do it for him?" And I said, "Yeah, all right, go ahead, put him on." So he calls him up, rings like one time. He's like, "Hey, what's up there, Sly?" And he says, "Hey, I got this guy who can do you in the desert scene in Casino really good. We're on a movie set, and he can do it real good." He goes, "Yeah, let me hear it." So I do the whole thing for him. I get all done, and he goes, "That's pretty good." He goes, "Who the hell is this?" And I said, "That's Joey I." He goes, "Who the fuck is that?" I said, "Well, if you don't know, I'm hanging up." Hung up the phone, handed the phone back to Stallone. He looked at me and said, "Oh my God, you just hung up on Joe Pesci." I said, "Fuck Joe Pesci. I'm Joe Pesci." He said, "You are. You're," and every day he kept calling me, but I kept going, "I do you better." And he said, "Yeah, I know. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." But every once in a while I jam them in there. But Frank Pesh, someone calls me right away off of there onto the set to check something technically or whatever to set up a scene. And I walked away, and a friend of mine who I got in the movie, you had met him before. He's my lawyer, Rocco DiPersia. So Frank Pesh says to him, he's like, "Why are they calling him to go over there to do that?" And he said, "Because he's the boxing guy here." He goes, "He's the boxing guy? I thought he was a Hollywood comedian." And he goes, No. He's like, he goes, "What's he wasting his time here for?" He said, "He should be in Hollywood somewhere." And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well," I don't think you could get me that far out of Philadelphia." But yeah, it was he was a really good, nice guy to meet and everything. He was very, very humble guy, and but it was a fun couple, funny things that were happening on the set. It was good. It's a good experience.
Yeah, and it's funny thing on this set that right before we went to air, Joey mentioned to me about someone watching one of the podcasts, which is really great. That means that they're watching,
Yes.
and a little constructive criticism about I'm producer director here, and actually as I'm doing this now, I have to make sure some of the pictures I put up here, you're not flailing away back there, back in Jersey, like
Right.
with your arms out there. So whoever did their names might be, thank you for the constructive criticism. I have a note of it. So when I put these smaller pictures up there, I don't take myself off. So,
There you
so
go.
I appreciate that. So, Joe, that's the one backstory from that, even from that. So there's a lot going on this weekend, and something that happened last Saturday with you. You say you may want to talk about it. It's up to you if you want to talk about it.
I'm not complaining about it. It's just part of the business.
Just to let everybody know, whoever's watching, there was a boxing promotion at the big arena here in Philadelphia,
Wells Fargo,
Wells
yes.
Fargo Center, and you were part of the undercards.
Yes, I had a few guys I was working with on the undercard, and the bigger promotions, they're funny. If you're not part of the main event or the co-main event, it's like you're a piece of meat, and they just go, they cut your wristband off and go get out, and especially if it's sold out, they want you out. And normally, the big promotions, they'll cut it off you and they'll send you all the way to the top somewhere, no matter who you are. And it's kind of demeaning, especially when you come. I mean, I would have to almost say this is my town. You know what I mean? In Philadelphia, you come, but it don't matter. They come in, it's all business.
Of course, it's your town.
Yeah, well, I would hope it is. But they and I had a couple guys on as soon as it was over. They were just like, yeah, we got to cut your wristband. They're like, do you have a ticket? You can go sit somewhere. I said, no. Do you have a ticket for me to go sit somewhere? They said, no, we don't have any tickets for you. You can go out the same way you came in. I said, out by where the shuttles let us off? They said, yeah. I said, well, do you have a shuttle back to the hotel? Oh, they ain't leaving till the end of the night. So I had to walk 2 miles back with my gear, all the way back from Wells Fargo down to the hotel. And, I'm looking, thinking, I'm going, boy, ain't this ironic? Giant billboard sign outside the arena as I'm passing by. Said, big fight tonight. Yeah, I got to go home and watch it on TV.
That's a movie within itself.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? It looks like something in the movie. I'm like staggering down with all my gear, walking away. And there's not a soul on the street because everybody was in the arena. It was packed. And
I have to ask a question.
It big deal. I could have stung and hung out in the corner somewhere. But what am I gonna do? Rob the joint?
Are people in the business now? Earlier today, that how I ended up meeting you, I did another podcast with boxing promoter Russell Peltz.
Yeah,
and we talked a lot about what's happening this coming weekend. And obviously, there's a whole different hierarchy and everything that's going on in boxing. Now, we're not saying boxing had a great reputation even through all the years for what they did and stealing money and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Right. But even now, though, I think, somebody who's even part of helping out to be treated at least with respect and not be treated like that.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. It's really funny, but it's like these younger guys, like this promotion that they have like, it's like they got all these like almost like bouncers. It's kind of like, a bunch of meatheads that are just like, all right, buddy, you gotta get out, and they're telling me things that, I'm getting up into the ring with the one guy, and the one guy standing there going, only one guy allowed in, another guy on the outside. I said, yeah, I don't think this is my first rodeo, kid. I was like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, know who you're dealing with. Like, it's just, to me, I would know everybody, I would make sure I knew who we were dealing with. If you're in another city, which I've done, I've gone to other cities to work with fights or promote fights. And, you want to treat, the local people that are the hierarchy there, like, maybe with a little respect, I would say,
Somebody mentioned about another thing that people with, low self-esteem, low, but once they give them some power, they go off the deep end.
Yeah,
they love to use the power.
Yeah, that's that goes in every aspect of life. It's human nature, I guess you would say. Some guys who nobody listened to or couldn't fight their wet wet paper bag, they go into like the service or become cops, whatever. Now all of a sudden they got a badge, they got this, they got a gun. Changes the whole friggin' perspective of things.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with this. You get, it's, and a lot is in boxing and probably everything else, any kind of show business. whoever has the money is the one who thinks that they know everything and thinks that they have the upper hand on everything. But usually if you have to have money and knowledge, because if you ain't got the knowledge in this business, your money's going to go right at the goddamn window. And then you're going to go crying that your asshole hurts because you got raped. And, I tell guys all the time that want to get into the business, it's like you got to either be a straight gangster or born into this shit. And even those people get screwed over. I was like, there's nothing like this. The only other thing, like I said, is like the movie business and the record business. Like it's show business. And it's, anybody patting you on the back, they're looking for the soft spot to stick the knife.
Well, there was a song in the 70s, smiling faces,
Yep.
back in our day, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the OJs?
Somebody like that, yeah.
Yeah. That
Now,
was a good song.
Now, this is Tuesday, the 12th of November, and up until 2 or 3 days ago, I knew something was happening this coming weekend, but then I do have Netflix, and something's coming on Netflix. And then with the podcast I did with Russell Peltz, and I was astounded by this matchup.
Yeah.
So you have any thoughts on what's coming up?
I got plenty of thoughts on this. I'm not big. I'm a serious combat sports guy. Boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, anything. If it's amateur, it's amateur. If it's a professional, it's professional. Other than that other crap does not matter.
For some reason, I took down for people who don't know, this coming Friday night on Netflix.
Yes.
Mike Tyson was everybody, even if they're not in boxing, knows who Mike Tyson is and was and what his reputation is. He's now 57, 58 years old.
Yep.
And through someone who just happened to have been a YouTube influencer, with Joey's page is going to be on YouTube, but somehow he ended up getting into boxing and challenged Mike Tyson to a boxing match. And Mike goes, yeah, for the right money. And Netflix bankrolled it. And it's now a Texas Stadium. Now, it was one time it was canceled. Not canceled, postponed because he ended up having an ulcer.
Yep.
And so I watched a 2-part documentary last night, and he's seeing how this is coming about. And he's making, I didn't forget his name now. Look.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. He's getting $14 million. Tyson's only getting half that, 20. Yep. That's a hell of a payday.
Yeah.
And Russell, what he felt, what you feel, and even me as a purist from back in the day.
Yeah, to me, it's an abomination. You don't want to see your heroes like that. First of all, you don't want to see, and Mike's 58 years old. He's 58. I mean, I don't care who you are. 58. Come on, I'm 55. I could probably beat that clown up too, but I only got so much gas in me to do it. So punch. If he gets to him in the first round, if not, he's going to be chasing that goofball all hell around.
One thing that Tyson did say, that he said, this guy's a manufactured assassin or killer something. I'm a natural.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I think in the beginning,
Custom Model took what he had and exploited it,
and he
which was
it,
that killer instinct. And that's what a good trainer does. And he created a monster. And Mike Tyson still has that. But for how long can he,
think Tyson realizes he doesn't want to be making a mockery of him, be embarrassed. Now, I didn't know until Russell mentioned this. Now, obviously, you're in boxing. Only 8 rounds of 2 minutes around.
2-minute rounds, 14-ounce gloves, which they're claiming that's a sanctioned fight, but that does not constitute a sanctioned fight. Only people who do 2-minute rounds professionally in boxing are women, and they're trying to get rid of that. They're trying to make that 3 minutes. Some have already, some have done.
And I think they're trying to promote a women's match that some international star supposed to be. It's like, I never heard of them. So, wow. Yeah. So, okay, I'll stop.
The thought to this is, and it's completely doesn't work. It's a great thought, but it's like in a perfect world, it would work. Everybody says, oh, geez, all these YouTube people that subscribe to Jake Paul, now they're going to come and watch the boxing. They're going to become boxing fans. No, they're not going to become boxing fans. They're his fans. When he's done getting his ass kicked, they're going to go away. And then what? Then somebody else. It's just a big quick money grab. That's all this is. Like I said, boxing is a business. It's not a game. It's not, it is a sport, but it's not a game. You don't play boxing. Every other sport, baseball, football, basketball, tennis, golf, what you play with one ball. In this business, you got to have two of them.
Well,
And this is just about money. That's all this is. And that's all and it's not doing anything good for boxing. And it's
Joe,
been done over the
something
years.
so
Muhammad
profound.
Ali did it, with guys, and but it doesn't do any good for it. It doesn't promote it in any way, especially when you got somebody who hasn't fought in forever against a guy who shouldn't be fighting. So, do the math on that.
Joe,
And
you
the
said
bad part is
something so
about these poor
profound.
kids are out there breaking their ass in the gym every day. You got to live this 110%. You got to want it 110%. And they're out there making peanuts in some club fights, trying to make their way up the ranks. And you got some guy because he does stupid things on YouTube. He gets a bunch of people to watch him and say, "Hey, come now, watch me be a professional fighter." He should have never been licensed in the first place.
Joey, I think we came up with a banner. You just said something so profound. You don't play boxing.
You don't play boxing. I've been saying that forever.
Well, that's the first time I ever heard that. So this is why it's enlightening it. I think you can put this on a T-shirt or sweatshirt. And
I have another saying. It's over my desk. I wrote it and put it in a frame years ago. Boxing is spelled BUSINESS, not FRIEND. There ain't no friends in this business. It's all business.
But yes, that's true. But you mentioned all the other sports, you have one ball or a puck for hockey, obviously.
Yep.
But you said how many balls you need?
You gotta have two balls.
Wow.
Even the women gotta have two.
Somebody's got to design that. That's going to be a say. You don't play.
Play boxing. Nope.
I think we gotta copyright that or something. That's it's okay. And the next time we come on, if we do next week or whatever, I know the holidays coming up. Yeah. We'll do a recap and see what happens because we can speculate all we want until we finally watch.
Well, yeah, of course. I doesn't mean I'm right of what's going to happen. I mean, it's boxing. Anything in boxing can happen. They make movies about stuff like that. You know what I mean? Of the underdog, and this and that. But I honestly think that if Mike gets to him in even the first minute, that dude's dead. But he'll put his lights out. And because I know guys that used to spar with him. I have a friend. His name's Clinton. They call him Big Daddy. Guy's got to be about 6'7", 300 pounds. He used to spar with Tyson, and man, did he say how hard Tyson could hit. And he's just like I said. He's not a manufactured animal. He's a real live. He's a killer. He's a beast, and he always was. And that's what most of his career he got away with being so intimidating. Just the look on his face scared the hell out of people.
And the stare down. The stare down.
Yeah. I mean, and that only goes so far. But then when you can back it up, you got the fight one.
Well, there was one thing that I could say while watching. I have to use a baseball analogy. There's some home run hitters when they hit that ball. There's a certain sound of that ball hitting.
When that ball's gone. Yeah.
But now his punching, hitting someone, it had a certain sound to it. Yep. It sounded like a car accident.
Yeah, there's only a few guys, say recently that I've known. Some of I've worked with, like Sergey Kovalov. He was a light heavyweight. He was the light heavyweight champ for a while. When he hit you, even jabbed you, it was like getting hit with an aluminum baseball bat, it sounded like. And also Triple G. He was another one. He was only, only 154-pound fighter. But man, when he hit you, and I worked against him a few times, and my God, you'd be in Madison Square Garden, other side of the ring, and you could hear the thuds of him just hitting you. And you knew every punch was something on it. And that's just like Mike Tyson.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting on Friday. Actually, I was supposed to go somewhere and go to Pasadena with a friend over the weekend, but I said, I'm not. I'll go Saturday. I gotta watch.
Yeah, right. You watch that on Friday, right?
I gotta watch that live.
See, that's the thing. Everybody, it's like a novelty thing that even people who aren't in the boxing are going to watch it. Yeah. Which that's great. Whoever's making the money off it, that's wonderful. Make that money. A friend of mine, another cut man I know from Philly, his name's Danny. He's down there the whole time during Jake Paul's training camp. He's going to be his cut man. He's wrapping his hands every day, getting paid well to be there. Good. Make the money. Make that money. But, And the people you can blame are the people that are for these crappy, goofy fights that they're throwing together like this. The people that are willing to pay for it. People are willing to pay for something. Why not do it? It's not illegal.
Well, I think this is a perfect, venue for just talking about this. We appreciate the people that have watched the first couple, but I think it's going to grow. And then as we go into 2025, that is, you can see down on the crawl below that this is for Joey I's, official YouTube page.
Yes.
Eye on the prize. If you like this, go on there, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let us know, good or bad, because hey, we can take some constructive criticism too.
I don't wear my heart on my sleeve.
I know.
You don't like me. You like me, you do. I've never been one to worry about that. But
I know when I was in sales, I could take a no as well as a yes. So
yes, right.
and anyway, but yeah,
well, I can take a go to hell as the same as I love you. So yeah.
So it's interesting that I know you mentioned that down the road you might have some guests on, including Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
Yeah.
So what I did watch the other day, last Friday, somehow I was able to watch The Nail.
Yes.
That had him in Nail. That you were there, but you didn't have any speaking, but you were there also.
Yes.
And
that's a good story of why I don't have a speaking part. Ooh, God.
Why not? That's a perfect introduction. Why don't you go? Okay, Joey, why didn't you have any speaking points?
Why don't I? Well, that's a Tony Danza story.
That's right, Tony Danza too.
Tony Danza's in the movie, right? And I had to wrangle up all my guys that I had that fought for me or I knew through boxing or whatever, and get them together. And we filmed it at the Front Street Gym. And I was training guys at that gym at the time. I was between having gyms. I didn't have a gym at the time, so I had all my guys there. So they get us all to, I bring everybody there. So I'm doing all the technical stuff and everything, and Boom Boom Mancini's in it. He's doing like a little cameo, plays a trainer in it, and but they have me doing all the technical stuff and the choreography, showing guys, I had to show Tony Luke how to throw punches, and we put all the gear on him, and he was sparring all the guys in it. So I was setting up each scene. So Tony Danza plays like a mean boxing manager, and if you watched it, and so I was supposed to have a line which would have got me residuals. So you got to have at least one line to get residuals after the movie comes out. And, every 3 months, whatever movie you're in, you get a residual for it, however many times it was watched and all that, rented, whatever. So my line was Tony and the gym owner, who was Leo Rossi, they get in an argument because Tony makes fun of Tony Luke's character. And I'm supposed to, the fight almost breaks out. So I turn into being like the referee. So I was supposed to just kind of look. I'm holding the gym owner back, but I'm pointing at Tony Danza and telling him to leave. Just leave now. And everybody, all the fighters start to come in, they're like everybody, and him and his fighter go, oh, let's get out of here. Well, we rehearsed it a few times, and then all of a sudden, he goes, I got a problem here. And they were like, what's the matter? They said, I don't want, and he points right at me and he goes, I don't want the little guy having anything to say. And I don't want him touching me, which I in no way was anywhere near going to touch him. I was just a point towards him. Right. And everybody goes, and I said, what did you just say? He goes, what'd you just call me? I said, and he goes, the little guy, what are you going to do about it? And everybody goes, whoa. And the whole room, because all my guys, they all went, uh-oh. And he just the whole room was like, whoa. And they even start to kind of come in just like in the scene. And everybody, and I said,
almost had a real brawl in the movie.
Yeah. And I said, are you fucking kidding me? I said, oh, no. You're not going to call me the fucking little guy. I said, not in my place. I said, not in here. Because guess what? I said, who's the boss? I'm the fucking boss. I said, I'll throw you right down those fucking stairs. And anybody who's been to Front Street Gym knows it's almost like you need a rope to climb up those stairs. They're nasty and steep. And he was standing right by him. And he was getting all cocky, whatever. And I said, and he said something stupid. I said, that's it. I'm fucking throwing you down the stairs. And I went to go at him. And the director, the friggin'.
What did Tony Luke do? It was his movie.
What'd you say?
What did Tony Luke say? It was his movie.
Nothing. He was standing there in shock. And but they're all pulling me away. I said, that's fucking it. I'll shut this fucking whole thing down and you all can go to fuck home. And they're like, no, Joe, he's going to apologize to you. I said, go fuck him. fucking, so we calm down, whatever. We do the scene. I don't have any lines now. All right. We finish it. And we're on to a next scene. And all he was there was for one goddamn day. One day. And he was not nice to anyone. He was just like in a mood, And so he's about to leave. And they're saying, and I'm setting up a sparring scene in the ring. And he's yelling my name. And I'm not paying any attention. I'm working. I'm like, like, oh, he's just calling you. I said, fuck him. And working. And then the director calls me, Joe. I'm like, what? He goes, Tony's leaving. He wants to say hi, bye to me. Bye. And I look back and I said, oh, now you know my fucking name. He goes, oh, I was like, get the fuck out of here. I got shit to do. I went back to work. He walked away with his fucking ukulele he brought with him. I don't know what the fuck he was doing with that. But he leaves. And, we didn't talk for a long time. And then I saw him. He was at a fight at the Blue Horizon in Philly. And I'm in the ring. And he's trying to get my attention. And he's like, and somebody's bumping me going, yeah, Tony, look who's that. I go, yeah, I know who the fuck it is. Don't worry about it. And he's sitting next to Tex Cobb. And which is another story for another time where I once fought him in an exhibition. But coming out of the ring after the fight, and Tex jumps up and he's, hey, badass, how you doing? And all of a sudden, Tony pops out behind him. And he goes, hey, Joey, hi. And I said, oh, now you know me. You remember my name now, huh? I thought I was the little guy. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, man. I was in a bad mood that day, whatever. And I said, yeah. I said, whatever. Don't worry about it, But I knew I didn't want to get wise and yell because he was wearing a microphone, a lavalier, because they were filming an episode of that show he was on. That he did I think it was on like Discovery Channel or one of those channels. He was when he was a teacher at Northeast High School. He was like a substitute teacher.
Oh, yeah.
And then the whole night, the end of the night, he sees me again, and he comes up and he says, "Oh man, you really doing a good job there, this and that, He goes, I tell you, this teaching stuff's hard. I go, yeah, I know. My wife's a school teacher. He goes, oh, well, then you know. I go, well, I don't know. She does. I said, but I know that it's hard work. I said, a lot of hours. When the bell rings, they go home. That don't mean you're done. My wife is up till midnight sometimes with school. And I just said, whatever. And we parted ways. I left it at that, but I don't, in no way do I have, I would say, a Napoleon complex or anything. I know I'm little, but there's three things I just don't prefer somebody do. Don't try to pick me up. Don't pat me on the head, and don't fucking call me the little guy. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, as some people I would say, well, that would be like me calling you the big, fat, fucking ugly guy. Would I say that? No, you might be big and fat and ugly, but like, what does my height have to do with anything? And it's, I don't even realize, probably half the time it's what gets me in trouble is because I don't realize I'm only 5'2". I don't realize that until I'm in a picture with people. Unless you're over 6 foot tall, I think I'm looking everybody in the eye, but it was, it was kind of funny. Everybody's like just dropped.
My original question was about Ray Mancini.
Right.
So elaborate on Ray.
See how that goes?
That you might be able to have, on subsequent episodes down the road.
Yes. Yeah. We got to know, we met before that movie. We had known each other, but we really got that kind of, because he was in town for a while with that. So we hung out a lot. And we did a little other business with different movies. He has a movie distribution company, him, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Ed O'Neill. And
is that better now? I have the split screen that you're not flailing over there.
Yeah, that's good. That's beautiful. Yeah, that's me and Ray in the middle, and then that's a good friend of mine who's not doing so good right now. My buddy Nick Pomilio, a real good guy. He's any day,
That's
but I had him in the movie too. So we were, this was probably, I think, when we were doing The Nail. But
so you think you'll be able to have him down on coming up?
I think we'll be able to get. He's the same as me. He loves the camera. He loves a microphone. But there's other people. Some of the other people I already talked to that don't want to come on. Would just, we have to just set up the time and do it, and go on location somewhere. Like I said, different places, and it'd be cool. Hit the road a little bit, and sit down, talk some boxing, some life, some movies, whatever.
Yeah, it's amazing now. We're already, how fast a half hour goes by already. So
Yeah.
So what else you want
To
to
me,
talk
that felt
about?
like 5 minutes, but that's
I
you know,
know.
that's
You
like
could-
when
yeah.
I went into the Atlantic City Hall of Fame a couple years ago. The the guy who runs it, the guy Ray McCline, he walks up to me, shakes my hand, congratulates me before I'm about to walk to the microphone. He goes, now you got 2 minutes and watch the F bombs. I said, 2 minutes. I walked up. I said, you believe this guy? He told me I got 2 minutes and watch the F bombs. I said, shit, my first joke's more longer than 2 fucking minutes. So so there's your 2 minutes, and I already threw an F bomb. But I think I went on for almost 15 minutes, and luckily the thing that saved me that I didn't have the longest speech was Roy Jones Jr. was going in also that night. He was last. He went in last. They put him in last, and he went on for about 40 minutes. So he even got up. He started singing. So I tell him all whenever I see him. I said, "You saved me," because I said I'd be never living it down that I was talking so long up there.
Well, that's a heck of a story. So I know you wanted to talk about the story about what happened at Creed. We talked about the one with the nail, and we talked about the upcoming fight. So what else would you like to discuss for the next 15, 20 minutes we have until we sign off to the next one? No.
Well, there's we're working on I'm on the voting board for the Pennsylvania Boxing Hall of Fame. So we just this past week on Wednesday, we Russell Peltz was part of it too. We were picking who. There's all these different nominees. So we had to vote on who should go on the ballot that everybody else would wind up voting on. And got a lot of good people that I can't say who because it's not the official one, doesn't come out to January. But when it does, I think we'll have a real good class this year that goes in October. And it's very hard. I mean, it's like nerve wracking the list of people that get nominated and to me, everybody, if you're in this business in one way or the other, you deserve to be in it. I mean, just the crap in any aspect of what you do in this business, there is nothing nice to it. It's a lot of you dedicate your life to it, and people on the outside of this just don't even understand. And it's like 1% of 1% of all the people in the business are the ones who make any money really in the end. So more of this is more of like a love that you have for the boxing business. So everybody that got nominated, if it was up to me, I go, yeah, put them all in. Put them in. Because for one way or another, in their way, they deserve it. And it's a hard it's a hard thing to decide. Going, well, he should go. And I hate just on stats. I hate to go by just statistically. And then I also hate to go by just like on notoriety. Like you don't want it to be like a what do you call a oh my God!
So I can't help
that you're known,
celebrity.
celebrity, yeah, like a celebrity type thing. You know what I mean? To where it's like um, and I always wondered sometimes with because I'm not a quiet behind the scenes, don't do anything type guy, so I'm out there and maybe like I was 15 times in a row the Pennsylvania Cup Man of the Year. And to the point where I was like, look, I'm like, it's a really big honor, but give it to somebody else. And they do now for the past 7 years, but I give the award out and it's called the Joey I Award. But I thought I was like, I just said it to a guy the other day when we were at that voting thing. I said, he said, yeah, you hold the record out of everybody that's gone into this one. You hold it not only just for consecutively, but you hold the most. And he says, I'm catching up. And he was a boxing writer. And I think he was coming up on, he might go in this year, he would be 14th. But they weren't all in a row. But he says, might be 14. And he said, I'm catching you. And I said, wow. I said, but, I said, I don't even know that I deserved any of that. I said, he goes, no, you got the votes. He said, I used to vote for you. He said, you did get the votes because I said, yeah, but is it like a popularity thing because people just knew me or what? And I said, I would hope that it was on my ability, but, probably my ability and, how I am, I guess. I don't know. But I've always been that way. I didn't want everybody to just think that a cut man, some old guy in the corner chomping on a cigar with a towel who can, who can barely get in and out of the ring. And, I wanted to bring, I don't know. I don't think I'm saying it the right way, but like bring like the notoriety to bring the little bit of glamour to it, if you could even say that. I don't know if it's glamour, but bring it so it's it does into the 21st century.
Maybe one of these podcasts you could actually be maybe in a ring and actually show, have a camera there and actually show what you do and the artistry that you have and
without a doubt. Yeah.
how you do it. I think we could do one that way too. So I know, the few minutes we have left for this podcast, you're mentioning because we might have had a little scheduling conflict tonight, but I'm glad we were able to do this tonight and have this for this week. But you're going somewhere Thursday. Now, does that have to do with the Hall of Fame or what's that?
That's the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame.
Okay.
That's one of the best ones. Beautiful place. It's in Garfield, New Jersey, which no big deal to Garfield, but the place, it's called the Venetian. It is an incredibly beautiful hall that you'd think like royalty would get married there. And every year, Henry Haskell is the president of it. Great guy, dedicates his life to the New Jersey Hall of Fame, and he does an outstanding job. And there's a few people that I know, a lot of people actually I know that I've either worked with or friendly with or whatever that are going in. One of them is a guy from Philly, a trainer. They call it a Rev. That's how he talks. Is the Rev. And he's a pastor, but he's all and his name's Elvin Thompson, but everybody calls him Rev. And I was just asked last night to be the one to induct him. So we'll be going up there, and that'll be a big honor to induct somebody that I work corners with. I just worked corners with him last week. And it was funny in one I was on a movie set yesterday, and the phone keeps ringing, and who is it? It's Rev. And he's calling me and asking me, he wanted me to go to Texas with him in December for a fight. The guy, let me see what I can do, this and that. And then as soon as I hang up with him, they're calling me from the New Jersey Hall of Fame to ask me if I would induct him. And I was like, what is this, like candid camera? At the same time, like I'm talking to the guy, and then I hang up and they ask me to induct him.
And divine intervention.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. But so I mean, that's a wonderful, wonderful event. And I was inducted in there in 2017, and which was a huge honor. To me, I love it's great. It's great when it happens, but it's not something you it's not like I always say, all those Hall of Fame, I mean, 4 Hall of Fames, that and $1.50, I can't get a cup of coffee. I'm not going to run around and tell everybody, hey, I'm in the Hall of Fame. But I strived for that solely for my father. My father always loved all those kind of awards ceremonies. The Hall of Fames he loved. He would always, because he used to work corners with me and things. I'd have him involved with the fights with me. And like I said, he got me into boxing, and he was such a huge fan of it. And he would always love to see, and he would always say, yeah, someday you're going to be in this. I said, I ain't getting into these damn Hall of Fames. He goes, nah, I want to see that. And he didn't, by the time I got in the first one, he was really, really sick. He had cancer. And he just, he was too sick to come. And then he had just passed away right before like maybe a week before I was notified that it was going to the New Jersey Hall of Fame. And which, I guess he was looking down when I went on, and I dedicated it to him. But, to him, that was like the top of, he loved it that, like all the well-known fighters that I knew, former and now, and this, and, introduce them to them. And, he loved that. He just loved all that, ate that stuff up with a spoon,
And he's loving you doing this podcast now, getting the word out.
Yeah, well, he would be supporting this big time. Oh, he would. Whatever I did, and I'm not even kidding, legal, not legal, he backed me 6 ways to friggin' Sunday. He always backed me up, anything I ever did.
You would have had him on.
Yeah. I remember. I mean, even when I was a kid and I get in trouble, I get locked up or something, he'd be like, what his answer was to me? 1, don't tell your mother. And 2, he would always say, you got to learn how to not get caught. If you're going to do these kind of things, because he was like, he just let you, he kind of just went, let you experience life on your own, and you're going to make, boys will be boys type, and you're going to make your own mistakes. I always kind of said to my wife, I don't think I'm going to be kind of that way with my kids. I don't want them to, because it's too easy to screw up. It's too easy if you're left on your own, and but yeah, it's
True old school.
yeah. Yeah, he was like, you make your own mistakes, and he was always proud that I always did stuff on my own, made my own way. And I even with all this, with the boxing, with as a cut man over the years, I applied my trade. I took the time to learn. When it was my time, I went out. I didn't do anything I didn't think I couldn't do, and I never got any quick, easy ways in or out of anything. I have nothing against anybody that lucked into something like just because, or maybe they had to kiss some ass to do something. That just isn't me. I never was like that. And if I made it on my own, I made it, and if I didn't, I didn't. And there's, like I always say, have no regrets, and I really don't. I mean, the regrets you could count, I could count on one hand, and who cares?
Well, I certainly don't have the regret of coming back to Philly, meeting Russell, and then meeting you to do this amazing podcast. We're at the 45, 46-minute. I know we could talk for another 3 hours.
But the only thing I would say is, like I said, I was doing a movie yesterday for some friends, and a few of them we've done stuff over the years together, and it was kind of ironic. It was like we're doing a mob movie right across the street from where there was like a kind of like a mob hangout bar 30 some years ago that I had a restaurant in the back. And I said, oh my God, this is like life imitate. I said, this is like all coming back on me. So this is so funny. And, I played a mob guy named Frankie D. So I was like the bad, mean guy that was calling the guy a rat and wanted to kill him. And, but it's a pretty neat story about a butcher who's going through a midlife crisis. He don't want to be a butcher no more. He don't want to cut cutlets up anymore and dealing with old ladies on a half a pound of sirloin or whatever. He wants to get into the mob. So they're going to rob him, and his friends are going to rob the butcher shop that's got $500,000 in it. And then give a taste of it. They want to give a taste of it to the mob boss so that he'll take them under his wing. Well, what do you think they want to do? They go, yeah, go ahead and steal the $500,000. They don't want to taste. They're going to take it all and then kill him. But, he reluctantly, in the end, they don't wind up doing it for this reason or that. But they're still going to kill him. But the old boss of bosses shows up at the last minute. And that guy's father the butcher's father had saved that guy's mother from some rapist or something or whatever like that. And so he gets a pass. So it's cute. Friend of mine, Vince Minetti, wrote it and is directing it. And like I said, we were at the Twin Shop. It's a cigar shop now. It used to be an old like candy shop and card shop that we used to go to. It was an experience. It was, and they just let me run. I'm doing a cameo in it, so they gave me the lines I had to do. I had about 5 lines, and they just said, Joe, however you want to make this, you make it work. And so I kind of let my anger out in there, So because I always say I do these movies, it's just me with a gun in my hand.
When do you think it'll be out? When do you think it'll be?
They want to take it. That yesterday was actually the first day of filming. And I think they were filming it a little bit like backwards, like to film the end so that we could be in what we had to be in. And then they have a few more other scenes to do, obviously. And I think they said in what's April, I think when the festivals start to come out, I think that's when they want to get the Philadelphia one and the one up in Asbury Park, the New Jersey one and all. So that's what we're talking about. And I wish them a lot of luck, and I hope if any way that my name could help to bring it.
Hey, we'll do a promotion. We'll do a promotion. What better place to promote your movie?
Well, there you go. Right. Yeah.
And I know Vince has his own channels. And
he does. Yep. And he's always sharing. As soon as he sees his podcast, he's going to try. He says, Joe, any way I can help you?
I appreciate it too. That mentioned.
Yeah. It was funny. You talk about a Stallone thing.
Yeah.
One of the guys came up to me and he said, oh my God, you look just like him. I said, look just like who? Who the hell they tell me I look like? And he said, you look like Stallone's brother. I said, what? And he said, I look like Stallone. He goes, no, you look like Frank Stallone. I said, I don't look like Frank Stallone. I said, are you kidding me? And he said, no. He said, let's get a picture. I said, what? So you can pretend you were with Frank Stallone? I said, I think he's a little taller than me. And I said, and older. But I don't know where that came from. I said, I've heard, I get Joe Pesci. I get Jake LaMotta. I've gotten Fonzie even. I get a James Caan in The Godfather, which actually I don't see it in The Godfather, but I
No.
will admit this. Did you ever see the movie Thief that he was
Yeah.
in? Yeah, that I'm like, you're watching that. I go, yeah, you know what? I'm like the glasses, everything. It's kind of this. I said, I'll admit to that a little bit, but I don't, I don't think I look like Frank Stallone.
I know it's wonderful. In closing, Joe, we are about 2 weeks from Thanksgiving. You think we're going to do one more before Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
and
I think
maybe
we can bang one out before Thanksgiving. Yeah,
and then
then
maybe
come
one
back
or
in, come back in the beginning of the year, and
or
get
not
some
do anything in
commercials
December.
done for our sponsors,
Yes.
so we can go out on the road and do them. Again, like to mention, we have two very good sponsors. We got Jimmy's Timeout Sports Bar up there at 5001 Linden Ave, and in Northeast Philly, it's a good boxing bar, but you don't have to be a boxing person to go there. They got all the sports on, every game, everything. They got a great roast pork with broccoli rabe and sharp provolone.
Someone out here to me.
Not bad for some Irish guys up in Northeast Philly. I'll tell you that.
Someone out here. That's all I ate when I was there.
They even have in my honor, because we were there every Monday. In my honor, they have a Joey I pie. It's like an upside down pie. The way I make my pizzas is you got provolone cheese on the bottom. The sauce or gravy, however you want to call it, is on the top. Little locatelli, and that's it. And
I'm glad I ate before we did the podcast.
Yeah, right now I'm getting hungry again. But
so to let people know, we're going to do one more before Thanksgiving, and then we're going to take maybe the month of December to regroup for.
And like I said, and do the commercials and all. Also, our other sponsor at Tommy's Original, the barbershop on Haddon Ave in Haddonfield. Great place to go. Great place too, especially for guys. It's almost like almost like an old time hangout. You know what I mean? But really like a hip young crowd that goes in there. My middle son Jojo's a barber there. They really take care of you, and great guys. The owner I've known. He actually used to live around the corner when he was a baby. He lived around the corner from where me and my wife had lived in South Philly. And so I knew his family. But really good people.
Doesn't have an address on it for people who might be out of the area or whatever. Where's the address for this?
They're on Haddon Avenue, oh gosh, I don't have the exact address in my head. They're right on Haddon Avenue, right down the street.
Is that Haddonfield or Haddon Township?
Haddonfield on Haddon Ave, right down the street from Kings Highway on Haddon Ave.
Very familiar with it. I lived down there off of Albertson Avenue across from Venezio's.
There you go. Yeah.
Many years. Then I lived at the high rise. I used to live at Haddon View for
Haddon View. Yes. Yeah. I've been in there to pick up some cars here and there. Yeah.
Well, Joey, this has been wonderful for this one for episode 3. And, looking forward to the one we're going to do before Thanksgiving and then 2025 with the guests you're going to have lined up. And just for people to know, this is Joey's vehicle. This is his podcast. This is his YouTube page. And this is what he's going to be talking about boxing and then also life and then the movie business and with the other things coming up. So as we see down the crawl, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think, good or bad. As I say, I took constructive criticism. Now I'll realize not to put those little ones up there and take myself off. Don't look good. Right. I agree. So
next episode, maybe I'll tell a little story about kind of being like a Robin Hood.
Okay.
And finding out at the same time years later that a guy was my uncle.
Wow. Well, we got to look forward to that. Don't say anymore. Look forward to that.
That's a story.
Okay. So, last parting shots for the next one. Final words.
If you're going to bet on that fight on Friday night, go with Tyson in the first. If not, Paul with a decision. But
what do you think?
Anyway, like I said, it's still boxing. Get out there, watch it, go see it, go to shows, do whatever you can, support boxing, MMA, Muay Thai, any kickboxing, any combat sport. You get your money's worth all the time. And maybe you'll probably see me at something, especially if it's in the tri-state area. So
Of
hey,
Philadelphia, for people who might see me here in California.
right.
I'm actually in California, might be see here or
I will be in
wherever we're at.
Atlantic City this weekend at the Tropicana. I'm working with the son of someone I used to work with who was a champion, the son of Bruce Seldon, Bruce
Wow.
Seldon Jr. It's his second son that's been fighting. I worked with his,
Wow.
so yeah, I've gone down the whole family here. I've been working with, and but yeah, we'll be at the Tropicana Saturday. Got a lot of good fights there that night, and you know, maybe we'll get some pictures or whatever we can put up or some video, maybe in the next episode.
Well, looking forward to the next one before the end of the year and 2025. Joey, thank you again for real quick getting back on here after my schedule opened up again for tonight. And we'll be back sometime next week. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Full circle.
9 years old, and then I don't know, 40-something years old, 48 there. But yeah. So I went from a movie that made me want to be a fighter.